Hi everyone, this is Simmer and
I'm Deep.
we are here with a very special guest today, Heather Weddell. So Heather is a certified educator, she's a registered holistic nutritionist, and her focus is on women's health and vitality. She's passionate about helping women to prioritize self-care and optimizing their health through hormone-balancing nutrition. She's the owner of Heather Weddell Nutrition and lives in Ottawa, Canada, with her loving spouse, Job, and her beautiful German Shepherd, Sophie. She has two amazing children who have grown up and flown the nest. She enjoys testing new recipes in her kitchen and traveling with Jeff and long walks with Sophie. So, welcome, Heather.
Thank you so much. It's a real pleasure to join you here, and I think we have some really interesting things to talk about.
Yes, for sure. We're so excited to have you here.
So, Heather, I just wanted to ask you, what made you pursue hormonal health? Like, was it something you were interested in, or did something happen to spark your interest?
Yeah. Well, I had been experiencing a number of years ago some really unpleasant symptoms, like bloating and weight gain, night sweats, and starting to have some hot flashes and even some symptoms of mild depression. But like most busy women nowadays, I just kept going and I didn't really stop to consider what was going on with my body, even though this is what I now tell my clients not to do, right? We really need to listen to our body. Through all of this, one of my nutritionist colleagues, who has been a holistic nutritionist much longer than I have, and she's a wonderful mentor and instructor, she actually introduced me to a course about hormones, because as nutritionists, we're always upgrading our education and continuing to learn. So I was really intrigued by this course, and I dove in and I started learning, and I was absolutely amazed at how many hormones we actually have and how much they influence just about every aspect of our health. So using what I learned, I was actually able to pretty much eliminate all of those nasty symptoms that I was having. So of course, I just had to share this with other women too. I mean, really every woman we meet seems to be suffering from some sort of symptom that is rooted in their hormones, and they don't even know it. They believe that what they're suffering is normal and completely out of their control. And it's just because they've never been shown differently.
Yeah, that's so true. So true. And now more than ever, I'd say.
More and more, right? And I think there's a lot of environmental things that have that effect. And definitely stress, right? People are living much more stressful lives. So stress has a huge impact on our hormones and our overall health.
Yeah, I totally agree. So you hear people talking about hormones a lot and how important they are. But if someone is totally clueless about what to say, about what they are and how they impact their body, what would you say? What would be the easiest way to understand the role of hormones in the body?
Right. Well, there's definitely more and more talk about hormones these days. And I can tell you that there's definitely increasingly more research going on, which I think is absolutely amazing, because there's lots we know, but there's still lots we don't know. Most of us, when we think of hormones, we think of estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. But the truth is, there's over 200 hormones and hormone-like substances that have been discovered in the human body.
Oh, wow.
Basically, so basically, hormones are chemicals that circulate in the bloodstream, and they spread throughout the body to carry messages or signals to different parts of the body. So they're little messengers that go through the body and give other parts of our body signals as to what to do, right? Because your body is just, every process that happens is a biochemical process in the body. And it all happens with messages, right? And so your hormones are little messengers that go through your whole body sending messages as to what to do and not to do. And that's why they're so important and how they can affect every part of our health. So I can give you an example. If we just look at one hormone, cortisol. Have you heard of cortisol?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So it often gets a bad rap, but here's the truth about cortisol. It's a steroid hormone that is produced by the adrenal glands, right? And those sit right on top of each kidney. When cortisol is released into the bloodstream, it can act on many different parts of the body, and it can actually help your body respond to stress or danger. It can increase your body's metabolism of glucose, and therefore it can help control blood sugar levels. It can help regulate metabolism. It can help reduce inflammation. It assists with memory formulation. And it has a controlling effect on salt and water balance and helps control blood pressure. So all of these functions make cortisol a really crucial hormone to protecting our overall health and well-being. So hormones are really meant to help our body function well. Where we get into trouble is when they get out of balance. So for example, if we talk about cortisol again, all those good things that cortisol does for us, if we end up with too much cortisol, then we have symptoms like fatigue, blood sugar problems, weight gain, depression, mood swings, anxiety. A lot of those menopausal symptoms are caused by too much cortisol. Excess cortisol can also suppress thyroid function, put extra pressure on the liver, hinder sex hormones, and inhibit digestive and intestinal. And that's just cortisol we're talking about. So that's one of the 200 hormones in our body, and just cortisol can do all of those things.
Right. Wow. So that's like a master hormone.
It's a big one, but you know what? They're all responsible. Every single hormone we talk about does more than one thing.
Right.
Yeah. So when you say master hormone, there's not actually one master hormone. Like if you just do a quick Google search on, what is the master hormone, you'll actually come up with a different answer depending on what site you hit on, right? So a few things pop up. Estrogen often pops up, and we know estrogen's a big one, right?
Yes.
Sometimes insulin pops up because that's the hormone that regulates blood sugar. Again, really important. I've also seen DHEA pop up, which is actually a precursor hormone, meaning it's produced by the adrenal glands, and then the body converts it into male and female sex hormones, including testosterone and estrogen. And all of these hormones are really important, but typically when you come across them labeled as the master hormone, it's usually for marketing purposes and somebody's trying to sell you something, right? Because, all our hormones are important. Yeah. Now, we'll talk about a master. If we talk about the pituitary gland, it is often referred to as the master gland because it controls the activity of most other hormones secreting glands. So among many other things, the pituitary gland also secretes hormones that act on the adrenal glands, the thyroid gland, ovaries, and testes, which in turn all produce other hormones. Through the secretion of its hormones, the pituitary gland controls metabolism, growth, sexual maturation, reproduction, blood pressure, and many other vital physical functions and processes. So there's not really a master hormone, but we could consider the pituitary gland as the master gland because it does influence just about everything else.
Right.
Okay, so what specifically would you say is the role of hormones in weight loss?
Weight loss is a really, really popular topic, right? Especially among women. I mean, how many of us have met a woman that doesn't want to lose weight or is interested in maintaining a healthy weight. It's a hot topic for sure. There's a lot of factors at play for weight loss. So I'm really glad that you asked me about hormones and weight loss, because there's still a lot of people out there that think it's just about calories in and calories out, right? And calories are part of the picture, but it's also the types of calories, right? The quality of the food that we're eating. And there's so many other factors at play as well. And hormones is definitely one of them. Because they're the chemical messengers that control a lot of what goes on with our body, including digestion, appetite, and metabolism, right? We can't blame just one or two specific hormones, though, because all our hormones are interconnected and affect each other. However, as an example, we can take a look again at cortisol that we mentioned earlier. So when we talked about cortisol a couple minutes ago, we were saying that it's a vital hormone that helps regulate metabolism, which we know is really important for weight loss, and blood sugar levels as well. It can really cause us problems when it's out of balance. Excess cortisol can create blood sugar problems for us and then cause weight gain. It can suppress thyroid function, and we know that the thyroid is responsible for our metabolism. And it can put extra pressure on our liver. And your liver is really important when you're losing weight, because when you lose those fat cells, your fat cells store toxins, right? So when we lose those fat cells, toxins are released back into our body and need to be dealt with by the liver and removed from the body. So you need your liver to be functioning well. Excess cortisol can also inhibit digestive and intestinal function. And I will tell you as a nutritionist that your digestive intestinal system is the center of the universe when it comes to your overall health. For weight loss, you need to know that you're getting the nutrients from your foods, not creating inflammation in the body, and you can effectively eliminate waste from your body. And here's another tip about weight loss, and we talk about hormones and their role in the intestines. Do you know that your intestines can hold up to 15 pounds of waste?
Wow.
Wow.
That's a lot, right?
Yeah, that is a lot.
Yeah, so just one hormone like cortisol can have a huge effect on weight loss. So often when a client comes to me and they're struggling to lose weight, we look at hormones, and one of the key ones we look at is cortisol.
Right. So how can we balance our hormones to really help us optimize weight loss and make it sustainable?
That's a great question, because it's not a matter of balancing just one or two hormones. We really have to look at the big picture, right? And try to balance them all out, because they are all interconnected. So we can't affect one hormone without affecting the other ones. So there's 5 key systems in the body that you need to focus on, right? When we want to create healthy, balanced hormones for weight loss, we need to focus on the adrenal glands, the liver, the digestive system, the thyroid, because of its role in metabolism, and the intestinal system, right, which we just mentioned, right, because it can hold 15 pounds of waste. So if your intestinal system is sluggish and slow, just by getting that working properly, you could drop 10, 15 pounds right there, right? So when we focus on those 5 key systems, we can accomplish a lot, right? We can stabilize blood sugar, which is absolutely key in weight loss, right? So we often talk about to maintain stable blood sugar, you want to eat low glycemic foods, right? So are you familiar with the glycemic index?
Yes. Yeah. It's something that we talk about quite a lot in our Body Love program as well. So even in our meal plans and everything, that's our main focus, is to have people start eating low glycemic food.
Exactly, because then they're not spiking their blood sugar, right? They're keeping it nice and stable, which is really important. We can also help the adrenals to produce the right amounts of cortisol, right? Because we need cortisol, but when we get too much cortisol, then it can really affect weight loss. It can actually hinder that weight loss or cause us to gain weight. By helping those 5 systems, we can also send the right signals to the ovaries to produce the right amounts of estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. Because when we get those out of whack, that can affect our weight as well. Of course, anytime we support the liver, we are supporting the detoxification of toxins and excess hormones also out of the body. Ensuring proper bile production to break down fat, right? So every time we support the liver, we're doing that. Of course, all these things will help to improve metabolism. And when we look at the digestive system, we can really help to ensure excellent nourishment of the body, right? Because when your body thinks it's starving or missing something, it won't release the weight, right? Because it thinks you're starving, so it holds on to the fat. And, good gut bacteria, really important. So there's lots of talks about probiotics, right? And prebiotic foods. So good gut bacteria is really, really important because it plays a regulatory role for everything, including the adrenals, the liver, the thyroid, and blood sugar. And good gut bacteria also helps the elimination of toxins. They play a protective role against many health conditions and help regulate all of your hormones as well. So really eating the right whole foods and ensuring optimal levels of certain vitamins and minerals is absolutely the key to balancing your hormones and losing weight in a healthy way that's actually sustainable, right? So for example, if we go back to cortisol, we need to support the adrenals for healthy, balanced cortisol production. And adaptogens are helpful. Now, do you know what adaptogens are?
No.
Okay, good. No, I love it. And a lot of people haven't heard of them. So adaptogens, they're almost like magic, right? So adaptogens, what they do is they help to balance adrenal function. So whether the adrenals are overactive or underactive, right? So if your adrenals are overactive and producing too much cortisol, adaptogens will lower that down. If your adrenals are underactive and not producing enough cortisol, adaptogens will actually boost the function. So it doesn't matter whether it's overactive or underactive, adaptogens just smooth it all out and balance it all out, which is pretty amazing, right?
Yeah. So how can you know that your cortisol is out of balance? Like, if someone is not sure, like how can they tell that their cortisol could be out of balance?
If you've been experiencing a lot of stress for a good period of time, you'll know that you probably had high cortisol levels. Fatigue is a really common symptom when you are feeling fatigued a lot. And then you can get the mild symptoms of depression setting in because you're so fatigued. Some people get heart palpitations, right? They feel edgy and anxious all the time. Yeah, but adaptogens have been fabulous for balancing out adrenals. So do you want to know how you can get adaptogens into your diet?
Yes.
Yes. No good knowing what they are if we can't know where to find them, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So I'll tell you about 3 different adaptogens that aren't too difficult to get, and I'll tell you a little bit about what they do as well. So the first one I'm going to tell you about is the reishi mushroom, okay? And it's a prebiotic food, which means that it can feed the good bacteria in the gut. It also helps support the liver, which works with the adrenals. So it's actually really good for supporting weight loss, stabilizing blood sugar, and preventing metabolic syndrome, right? Which is another syndrome that would prevent you from losing weight, okay? Mm-hmm. It might also prevent ulcers. There's some studies going on about that. And one study of patients with chronic fatigue syndrome found that reishi mushrooms significantly raised cortisol levels in the blood in comparison to the placebo group. So it's really working for a lot of people and helping with those cortisol levels. So reishi, you can get that as a powder. You can get it as a dried mushroom, and you can also find supplements that are reishi mushroom supplements. So they would have like the powder in a capsule. So that's one adaptogen. The next one I want to tell you about is actually one of my favorites. It's Schizandra. Now, have you heard of the Schizandra berry?
No, I don't think we have.
No.
No, okay. This is an amazing little red berry. It helps stabilize blood sugar and support the liver, thyroid, kidneys, and the nervous system. It's helpful for depression, insomnia, and anxiety, and it supports low energy due to adrenal fatigue, right? Which is often where we end up if our adrenals have been pumping out too much cortisol for too long. They get fatigued and tired, and they stop working like they should. So hot flashes, which are an adrenal problem, can be helped by Schizandra. It also decreases bad bacteria related to obesity and increases bifidus bacteria, which is good bacteria in the gut. It's available as a dried berry, a powder, or a supplement. You can use the dried berries to make them into a tea, but that's not as powerful as using the powder or supplements. So personally, I buy the powder, right? It comes in a little jar. It's a little bit expensive, but a little bit goes a long, long way. Like you use about a quarter of a teaspoon in your smoothie in the morning, and that allows you to get that adaptogen into your diet. And that's my absolute favorite one. It has a really strong flavor to it though. So it's best when you use it with something else that has a strong flavor like raspberries or something, because it can be really bitter. So you want something else that sort of, blends nicely with it. And the third one is Maca Root. Now, you might have heard of Maca Root.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so that's a root vegetable, and it's from Peru. It's often used by athletes for energy and performance, but it's also known for its ability to improve sexual function and fertility, which makes sense since stress can play a role in sexual and fertility issues. Maca may also be helpful for menopausal women suffering from hot flashes, vaginal dryness, and mood swings. And it might also help with male prostate issues and protect the skin against ultraviolet radiation, which is a big thing, right? We often talk about the UV rays from the sun. And it's also available as a powder or a supplement. I tend to buy the powder, right? And it comes in a larger format, usually a bag or something it comes in. It's less expensive than Schizandra, and it has a much milder taste. So you can use it in a lot of things, right? You can throw it in your smoothie. You can add it to a lot of different recipes if you're making, muffins, or you can add it to your oatmeal, yogurt, all kinds of things like that. So it's a really versatile adaptogen that you can add to your diet. So that's 3 adaptogens. So if now, are you interested in maybe a guide that would help you get started on balancing hormones?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right. So if you go over to my website, which is heatherweddellnutrition.com, right on the home page, you will see my quick start guide to healthy hormones, and it's for free on my website. And it covers adaptogens, it covers some other key areas to balancing your hormones. And basically you can pick and choose a few of the little tips and strategies that are there to get you started on balancing your hormones, it's really helpful for weight loss, but so many other things, right?
Yeah, because hormone, if your hormones are imbalanced, they can impact your skin, the way that you feel, everything, right? So
Yeah,
It's amazing that you
absolutely.
have a guide that's available for everyone.
Yeah, well, then it's a quick start guide, and it can certainly get you started on the right track. And then, of course, if you need more guidance, then you'll be able to find me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So we will put your website in the show notes so that people can get access to that guide as well.
Yeah,
And
and that's fantastic. Yeah, and there's lots of blog posts there as well that have a lot of information for people about hormones, how they work, and lots of tips and strategies in the blog posts as well.
Love it. Yeah, thank you so much. This is like a lot of exciting information and a lot to take in as well. But you really simplified it. So that was really, really good.
Oh, good. No, well, thank you. No, I try to simplify it because it can be complicated and it can seem really overwhelming for people. But as a nutritionist, that's my job, is to simplify it and break it down into simple steps that people can follow and get results.
right. I just wanted to quickly ask you one more question. So
Mhm.
you also recommend people to take nutritional supplements, like minerals, vitamins for their hormones as well?
Yes, absolutely, because there are a lot of essential vitamins and minerals that are key to balancing your hormones, right? Because everything's a biochemical production in your body, and it needs the right vitamins and minerals to make those hormones, right? So definitely a high quality supplement is definitely recommended to support.
Okay, awesome. Well, this has been
Mhm.
awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time and being with us here.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
It was my pleasure.
Thank you, Heather. Bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye.